Hello again, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Family Law Show. I'm your host, as always, Enrique Figueroa, and joining me today, we have Christian Lass of Griffith, Young & Lass, GYL, the Marketing Director and Lead Intake Specialist. Christian, thank you very much for joining us today.
Enrique, thank you for having me, man. Good to see you.
Are you getting a little sick of the Zoom meetings by now, or are we just becoming a natural at it?
I think I'm becoming a natural at it. I would like to give you like a fist bump or maybe a bro hug, but I can deal with just hey, what's up?
I'm really excited to have you on the show today because normally we have, attorneys. Every single time we do the show, we have just attorneys. And I personally think it's really exciting to have someone for once who isn't an attorney. Not that I mean that in any negative connotation, but I think it's really interesting what your job is, being the marketing director and lead intake specialist. You have that unique point of view. You're looking at it as a normal person.
Yes.
So, kind of take me through that. What's like the day-to-day operation, or how do you normally kind of like navigate your day and your expertise in the firm?
The day-to-day routine for me is being that lead intake specialist. So really that's kind of fancy for being like a client concierge. So all the calls that come in from you guys, either via the email or that call the office directly, they go through me. And I kind of look at myself as like a host at a restaurant. So if the table over here is full, then I'm going to have to seat you at another section with another lawyer. So in my stable of lawyers, I have about 8 here. And some of them are specialists, some of them are just associates, and the partners as well. So the big game, the people that have high conflict, lots of money, those guys normally get filtered through the partners. The smaller fish, the ones that are like, I can only spend about $3,000 in attorney's fees for this deal. Those will go to the associates. It's just my job to vet, I guess you would say, each and every client and find out what the best horse for their race is going to be.
Now, I'm curious, do you feel that individuals, the second they hear you're not a lawyer, maybe they're, the walls come down a little bit, like there's more of a comfort?
Yes, that's a great question. It totally opens them up. Like I try and keep it, like I've got a script that I try and keep it as short as possible. But I mean, let's be honest, it's kind of a serious business and it's a serious life decision. So I get, my 8 years of psychology at San Diego State has really come in handy for listening to people and kind of just talking with them and finding out what the end result's going to be. Like, if they are serious and don't want to waste a lawyer here in this office's time, then I'll set up a consult. But after talking to me, if they're like, you know what, I'm gonna go back and talk to my partner or my husband, my wife, and see if we can work this thing out or whatever. It's just I get, it's like I'm playing. It's like I'm playing more of a counselor role here, but not. I don't want to give advice. I just try and help them through their initial phone call and what that's going to look like.
Now, just to recap that for everyone who didn't necessarily know it already, you're actually married to one of the attorneys at the firm. So, and I mean, I work with my wife. So, honestly, like I'm a big proponent of working with your spouse. I think it makes things even more interesting. And honestly, now with being stuck at home, work from home, you always have something to talk about, I guess.
Totally.
But I digress. What I'm getting at, though, is I'm curious, leading into your involvement with the firm, was it more something that came about because Amy was coming home and kind of telling you like what was going on, and then you like slowly but surely were like, hey, I can help with this. Why don't I come in and maybe give you a consult or let you guys know like what we could do better?
Right. Well, so what had happened was, I've been in action sports my entire work career, and a lot of my work in that was on the marketing and branding side as well as sales, and so they were so inundated once the world went sideways with quarantine and lockdown. It literally and working with you guys actually, Scorpion. it literally started raining divorces. And the people that they had here weren't equipped at vetting and talking to people. And on the marketing side, they were kind of missing the bus on certain things too, because they're highly marketable as they're young, they're energetic. If you look at a lot of the family law firms around, they've been around for a long time. Maybe they're not kind of, I don't know. There's no lockup with the clients. They're not really seeing eye to eye. Maybe just a little too old, or maybe they're just a little too set in their ways. Amy, John, and Katie are they're marketable and they're very brandable. So I always told them that. So I think in John's head, when it started kind of going sideways with everything coming in, they actually wanted me to do the hiring for this position. And so they gave me what they needed for that position in a thing to go, post online and then do the interviewing process, because they're like, hey, you can talk to these people, what they're all about. We just want to find the right person. And so jokingly, I handed Amy my resume, and it matched exactly what they wanted. And it wasn't like I was saying, hey, let me work together, but I think it a light bulb went on in John's head, and John and Katie, they happen to be married too. And so Amy kind of fought it a little bit. She never wanted to mix, church and state, but eventually she kind of caved, and it's been a good thing. I mean, we truly are a family-owned business, family-run business in the family law field. So it worked out. I mean, it was kind of a natural fit. It was hard for me to give up action sports, but to tell you the truth, on my lunch breaks, I'm still surfing and riding, and I don't think I was doing that much when I was actually in action sports.
So I'm curious, the idea of sales and in general, salespeople and salesmen, I'm wondering, like, the transfer, is there some similarity? Because they seem like two different worlds, but there's got to be some similarity between the two.
There really is. The funny thing is, Enrique, is that for me on the wholesale side in the action sports world, selling was a tangible, right? I sold you a pair of sunglasses or a pair of goggles, or I sold, for FMF, I sold T-shirts, or I sold an aftermarket pipe for your bike. This is a service. So I was kind of taken back, like, how hard is that going to be to kind of sling a service? However, through your vetting process on our Scorpion feed and through on our website, and through my vetting process, it's not really, I'm selling the lawyers. I'm selling, is this the right lawyer for you? But it's taken that pressure of having to make that sale kind of off, because look, at the end of the day, the client called me. I didn't call them. So, and I even tell the client that, like, it doesn't make a difference to me whether or not you pick one of my lawyers. You're the one that called this office. So if you're serious, I can set that up. 9 times out of 10, you're going to talk to the lawyer I pick. You're going to like them, and you're going to want to retain them. So I do kind of, I guess, spiff them up a bunch or a little in my conversation with the client. But they have noticed on the flip side that, their 30-minute consult that usually took 2 or 3 follow-ups to see if they would want a retainer, the clients are retaining, like, right after the phone call. So John, Katie, Amy, and all the associates, they've all come in and said, dude, they were closed before I even talked to them. They literally were just wanted to know my name and who they were talking to, and then see the actual retainer agreement. So I think inadvertently I'm using my sales technique to close, but I'm not actively trying to close. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. And I think on top of that, something that I think probably is also transferable, and you touched on this a little bit ago, is the idea that, this firm is young. They're cutting edge in that regard. They're not the old guard.
Yeah.
I think knowing that experience and actually coming from a background like you do of something that is very on the pulse of youth and fun and exciting, I think taking that and coupling it with a firm that isn't stuffy and, you don't have mahogany everywhere and all that stuff, I think it's kind of a genius play, because they honestly look like a firm you'd want to work with. They're young, they're good looking, the site looks great. And even with your approach, when they call in, it just seems different. You're not talking immediately to a lawyer who's jumping on the phone and saying, hey, what do you got? This is how much it is.
Right. So, right. Yeah. There's more of a personal touch, I think, to it. And I think people like that. I think that in this day and age, I think that's what people want. I think customer service has kind of gone out the window, so to speak, with everything that's gone on. And I think they feel like they're getting a kind of an extra service with me. I mean, the funny thing is I'll hand them off to a lawyer and I send them an email for confirmation on that stuff. These people still talk to me or they'll hit me up and thank me, or they'll just say, oh, John's doing a great job. Thank you for recommending him. Or, Amy helped me with this. And, you guys are awesome. So it's like, even though I'm not a lawyer, they become like buddies with me, which is pretty cool. So.
And this one's a bit of a tough question, but I want you to be honest. It's always interesting for a marketing firm like Scorpion to not necessarily interface directly with the attorneys, but rather work with, the marketing director, the marketing professional at the firm. And, sometimes it goes fantastic. Like, honestly, I feel that you have a great rapport with your team at Scorpion.
Totally.
But, maybe something or knowledge you can impart to those listening to this who might be a marketing director who works with a digital marketing firm, Scorpion or anyone else, just the idea of, is it more important to create an ally or create a good, back and forth, like one hand helps the other, instead of the concept where it's very easy, I guess, to be threatened if you're a marketing director and you're working with a marketing firm. And that's something we run into a lot. I guess that's the tough part of my question is, how do you remove that underlying fear in a sense and go the opposite direction where you're like, no, we're all here to make each other's jobs easier.
Right. That's a really good question. I can see how some people would go that way. You guys, I was lucky enough to inherit you guys, and you guys were kind of doing a good job. When they brought me on board, everything was kind of laid out on the table, and they were like, how do you feel about that? And I was like, they're an absolute necessity, right? Like we put that in a budget, and then it just so happened that I wound up getting along with all of you guys. So it was like win-win. But I think marketing wise for me, you guys aren't going to go out. And I don't know if I've never asked, but you guys aren't going to go out and find a local golf course for me to sponsor a hole or you know what I mean? Like, I get to do the community outreach. You guys do the broader outreach, and you guys bring the clients that keep my day-to-day busy. And I get to have those awesome conversations, and the website looks unreal. I wouldn't want to do all that stuff. I would want a partner. I think it's important to have a partner. And I think it's important to separate that from the lawyers. The lawyers have to do the lawyering to keep the lights on, right? So their job, when I first got into this game, I kept telling them, you guys are lawyers. You can't run the day-to-day business, and you shouldn't be marketing, right? Let Scorpion do their thing and let me do my thing. And then me and Scorpion will work together and do our thing and watch what happens. And, look what's happening. I mean, it's been an awesome ride. It has been an awesome ride, and they've never been busier, and I don't think they've ever been happier. The three of them working together like they are right now. So there's no internal conflict. There's nothing like that. It's just they're just humming along. So I honestly believe that you got to check your ego aside, let you guys do your thing. Your thing winds up being my thing because we're always in communication. I think I talk to Emily every day. She's like my second wife. So we work together well, and it's a rad thing. It really is an official kind of team, even though you guys aren't here in the office with me.
Now, how many years now has the firm been in practice?
I think they broke the ribbon. I want to say 2005 or 2006. They're coming up on. I think it's 2005 because I want to say 15 years.
Now, did they start out kind of all on their own as a solo team? Like, how did they get to know each other and come together?
Yep. So the story behind that, and I don't know if this is classified information, but I don't care. So Amy was at MSM, Moore Schulman and Moore here in San Diego. John and Katie were at another law firm. Amy was kind of looking to go out on her own. John was also looking to go out on his own. He left, took Katie with him, and this is before they got married. They wound up getting married. Meeting with Amy, the three of them chatted, and poof, that's how it happened. So Amy was looking for a partner. I think she had talked to a couple other people to see what it would feel like to go out on her own and leave the nest that was MSM, because MSM, let's be honest, they're a really good law firm. And that's where she cut her chops, right? So kudos to them for what they did for Amy. But she did want to start on her own. She had a good kind of client lead base. When she hooked up with John, like I said, John's kind of our home run hitter. He's our heavy hitter. Amy's more of our, let's keep it on the mediation side, like we've discussed. And Katie's right there with the custody matters. So the three of them just kind of made a really good 3-prong attack, and that's what launched the business. They all kind of met, talked about it, re-talked about it, and then they felt like it was a really good connection, and made it happen.
So I'm curious because something I feel like San Diego is similar to Los Angeles in terms of just the sprawl, but I mean, honestly, Orange County is pretty much the same. But, in terms of the reach of the firm, case-wise, where you're willing to go, is it pretty much all-encompassing anywhere in San Diego County you guys will take a case from, or do you just kind of keep it localized?
Yeah, no, it's all over San Diego. I mean, a lot of them, they would rather do the Vista courthouse than the downtown courthouse. This is when we were going to court instead of doing Zoom. But it's kind of all over. I mean, we're even taking cases in Hemet, and Jeff is getting cases in Orange County, which leads me to believe that we have a shot at opening a little satellite office in Orange County. So we're kind of broadening. I mean, with bringing you guys on board, we're even getting cases in LA, and as long as we're comfortable taking it, we'll take it, and can make it work. So it's all over San Diego. I would say the key cases, maybe the big money cases, those guys are kind of local. Encinitas, Leucadia, a lot of the coastal towns and stuff like that. But it's a broad scope. I mean, the spreadsheet that I've built with Emily's help and stuff has been awesome, and it shows a lot of diversity in where these cases are coming from.
Now that's a good segue into another question I have, and something I've spoken with a lot of firms and teams about, is the idea of approaching geography with an open mind. Because I know that there's usually at times a stigma or a bias attached to certain zip codes or cities and whatnot. When you get a phone call and when you speak to someone, do you always make sure to have an open mind when you find out where they are, be it, the most high-end, super expensive mansion area versus, your working class neighborhoods? Because you just don't know.
You just don't know. 100%. That's part of the vetting process, is just talking to them. I mean, I've dealt with people where the opening conversation was, I don't have a lot of money and I don't know if I can afford this, but here's my deal. And I'm like, just tell me your deal and let's see where it goes. Those people wind up spending $5,000, $6,000, no problem to help out their situation and get it handled, right? And this is in the beginning of the conversation. This was someone that told me that they didn't have a lot of money, and instead of me saying, "Well, you can't afford us, so peace out," it's you still gotta hear them out, right? And we get a lot of military, and we give a military discount because they deserve that. But a lot of the military people, they come in and I think they'll talk to me and they'll say, I've talked to a couple of law firms. They kind of gave me the runaround. Hear them out. Well, I'll hear them out. I'll vet them, and I'll say, look, I've got a lawyer that's, instead of John's $4.95 an hour, I've got a lawyer that's $3.25 an hour. You want to try it with him? And 9 times out of 10 they'll say yes, and we wind up locking them down, getting a retainer, and oddly enough they pay their bill. So it's you gotta listen to them. You gotta, at least, if you don't want to listen to them, if you're a lawyer and you're watching this, if you don't want to listen to them, hire somebody that does, right? I mean, it's only going to help you grow, I think, as a law firm, and your reputation is going to grow almost out of control, right? The referrals that come from us taking those small cases and working with the client on a payment program. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard on the phone, my friend referred me to you and said, call Christian first and he'll find you a lawyer. And it works hand in hand. It's taken off.
And I mean, not to say that you just put an absolute perfect bow on everything, but I think that was maybe the best closing statement you could have come up with. And you're not even a lawyer. So, maybe someone else should take notes if they are a lawyer right now watching this. But Christian, I wanted to thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, thank you for watching the Family Law Show. I'm your host, Enrique Figueroa. And if you've enjoyed what you've seen today, make sure to hit subscribe below or visit us at scorpion.co. Once again, Christian Last from Griffith, Young & Last, GYL, the marketing director and lead intake specialist. Thank you once again and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Enrique. You have a good one too, man. Good talking to you.